Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
It's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee. We got our guy on the phone. He's got a new album coming out this Friday, A Beautiful Revolution Part 2. Oh, man, Common. Common, peace, God.
Peace, God. What's going on? Peace, Angela. What's happening, Queen?
Good morning, Common. How are you?
I'm feeling excellent. Great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. We've been dealing with a lot of different things, but I'm blessed.
Yes. That's it. Now, when we answer that for real, right? We kind of like, when people ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, I really take time to answer sincerely, like, and think about it. And I really mean it when I'm saying I'm great, or grateful.
So you woke up, you woke up feeling good this morning?
Man, I woke up feeling great, man. I even before, getting to talk with y'all, I had to get into God's word, and then I just center myself. I'm feeling great, man. Blessed.
What is Common's routine in the morning? How do you get centered in the morning, brother?
Man, I start with that gratitude prayer, with a prayer of thanks, kind of just like, man, thanking God for the day, and like really declaring that the day is gonna be something good. Like even when I ain't feeling the best, I still just speak good into the day. And then I start reading. I read a lot of the New Testament a lot. Just because I look at God's word as a way to live. Like if I can apply those scriptures to life and bring them to life, it's like, man, I will be living the most happy and fulfilled life. So I read that, and then I kind of get my own little meditation. I created my own meditation. Then I listen to some great music, and man, then I'm on my way, because it kind of really starts me for the day. It gives me a center to remember what I'm here for. Like, so yeah, that's how I begin it.
It's interesting because there's so many things that you could feel discouraged by that's going on. Like we look at what's happening in Texas with suppressing your rights to vote, as for women, for our right to choose. And for yourself, it feels like you're really intentional about making sure that you take on projects and do things that really address some of those issues. So what are some things and I know you're doing a movie that's about a voting rights activist. And so how do you think that those things are actually helping give people hope right now?
Well, I think, the more we continue to like put the light on what's going on, and the more like we talk about it, the more people not only become aware, but they feel like re-engaged in it. And then also, I think, when they see people like you all talking about it, or see me talking about it, I think it becomes something that they feel like they need to be aware of, and it needs to be on their radar. And we kind of hold, I feel like, from what I've seen you all do and what I do too, is I hold myself responsible, but I hold our people responsible too. And I think, us talking about it is holding each other responsible and accountable, and just bringing the awareness, man. It's like, just like hip hop has been a way for us to communicate to each other, like so in certain ways, and getting certain messages across. I think we doing it, you all doing it from a show's perspective, and discussing real important things. And that's what this does for us. That's how we raise the light of what voting suppression, and then galvanize, we need those messages across, and figuring out, when can I do something? Because I need that information too at times, where it's like, okay, what can I actively do? And I think sharing that is really important. And the fact that we have access to so many on the ground people, we got access to like people on the news that speak, like, and so it's a lot of power in that. And I think that's why it's important for us to keep finding out the information and discussing it like intelligently.
Is that what the Beautiful Revolution Part 2 reflects? Because I know the Beautiful Revolution Part 1, it was talking about what was going on at the time, like, Trump's presidency and George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Is Part 2 reflecting of what's happening now?
Yeah, well, I wanted Part 2, Charlamagne, to be, I wanted it to be like self-reflective in a way, because I was thinking about Part 1 as, Part 1 had that, like you said, during the election, there was a lot going on in that charge. We had been dealing with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and so many other things, but those things were the most significant. And I felt that the energy was angst. The energy was like a anger and a hurt, I wanted to channel that into the music on part one. Part two, I was like, what's the next step in revolution for me? What do I think revolution is, and what would I want to give to the people? And that was like, to me, like learning more about self-love, self-reflection, and self-empowerment, and finding joy in life, like finding joy in these times. And some of that just comes from like what I talked about from the beginning, like finding peace with God, finding peace with your family, and different things that are important to you. So I really discussed that in the album, but I just wanted it to be uplifting and be inspiring and feel good and not be preachy. So that's what part two is. And musically, we just took it to so many dope places, man. And I'm still an MC. I'm an MC. So that's what's on Beautiful Revolution Part 2.
How do you feel like you've grown during this pandemic? Because you're talking about self-love and you've been doing a lot of reflecting. You're able to go back out now. I saw you at D Nice's Club Quarantine. I saw that you were there and doing performances here and there now. So what has that time been like for you as a human being?
I think it's been, one of the most, it has some of the most like dynamics, like the greatest dynamics in my life, meaning it was the time where I was been in the most unknown, and I see the world going through so much, and I know people who have transitioned. I know people who lost people and transitioned. But I also on my personal journey felt like this is the most I felt like a human being, like close to God and like myself. And I don't know how long, and maybe ever, probably ever, because I define, like what this time has done, it helped me define happiness in a new way. Like what makes me happy? Like, and I really discovered that for myself. It wasn't like, oh man, getting these awards is it, or like, and those things, I enjoy those things and want those things, or going to get like recognition for this album is it. It was just like, what is making me happy at home? Like I'm alone right now, or I'm either sharing some time with Tiffany or some of my friends. But overall, I'm alone most of the time. And I found things that made me happy and things that I value. And I felt like my relationship with the Creator got stronger. And that was the most fulfilling thing in life for me.
Did it make you, have you been questioning your own mortality?
Man, for sure. But I also, because I was digging deep into like the word of God, I was like, oh man, I understand what a peace beyond understanding means. Or I understand when it says like, there's something greater inside of me that's greater than what the world is giving. So I actually, though I looked at my own mortality, I was like, to be honest, I had COVID early. I got it like last March. So I was in that space where I was like, man, okay, my body is, I'm okay. I can do this. I didn't feel immortal, but I felt like, okay, long as I operate on a spiritual level and like do as many things to keep myself healthy, I'm not going to succumb to all the dire things that, man, you're going to die if you touch this person or that. I just had to like really like dig into, like I said, the word of God, and also just be secure in myself and have faith. So it kind of gave me a strength that more than even like being like, man, I'm a transition, I just felt stronger.
You are a vegan now, so it's interesting that you talk about getting it early on and how you were able to overcome that. What was your lifestyle like before you became a vegan?
Man, shoot, I grew up eating, like, I'm from Chicago. I was eating, Harold's Chicken, Leon's Barbecue, I go to we call them the Dirty Burger joint, where, that's the spot where you get the gyros and pizza puffs. And man, I was just eating good, man. It was fun. I mean, not healthy, but the food was good. And then, hip hop helped me. Hip hop actually, hearing KRS-One talk about no goat, no chicken, no turkey or hamburger, that's suicide, is self-murder. That stuff was hearing Rakim talking about eating fish. And, it awakened me to certain things. And then being around brothers in the Nation of Islam, it taught me a lot. So I started my quest, and it was like, I didn't like get off of like meat early. Like it was all a transition. I went from pork to beef to that. But what I found in the process was that I was becoming like clearer with myself and healthy. And I felt more power when I did it, when I chose that lifestyle, especially, you know, getting to move to New York during the process, because I was around a lot of vegans and vegetarians. So that helped. And now across the world, you know, I can go to Chicago, I can go to South Carolina, I can go to Philly. It's vegan options everywhere now. And, you know, so I think, you know, now it's even easier, but for me going into it, it was just a thing of discipline. I saw it translate into other aspects of my life. And also felt, like I said, like more of a superhero, like being clear. And I think now so many people, because of COVID and different things, are really like health aware. Like I've never had so many homies hit me up like, man, what's up? With some turmeric. I'm putting turmeric, I'm getting vitamin C, I'm getting zinc, I'm getting spirulina. Like people, sea moss, everybody is up on sea moss.
Dandelion.
Dandelion, all that. But it's beautiful for us, and especially our people, because, you know, in certain areas we weren't introduced to those things, and it had to come in a difficult way. But a lot of people are more aware.
Yeah, isn't Tiffany vegan also?
Nah, she's not vegan. She's not vegan, but she eats. You know, she'll eat clean when she wants. She'll go from eating real clean to like going to get these LAX tacos she loves, the beef tacos.
Right by the airport.
Yeah, that's her spot. That's her spot, G.
Now, in the track, A Beautiful Chicago, you talk about, you know, what you speak into existence, and that's how you make decisions. Build on that a little bit.
Yeah. You know, I've been learning the power of our word more, and the power of words. And, you know, when I said speak into existence, that's how I make decisions. I'm saying, once I intuitively feel like this is something that I need to do, then I start speaking it into existence. And you know, everything that was created, you know, from when God created the planet, he spoke, he used words. And when you look at the powerful people that have been like components of change, the word is right there with them, whether it was Malcolm X speaking to us, Dr. King, you know, Minister Farrakhan or Michelle Obama, you know, like different Dr. Maya Angelou, like their words like really kind of created things and actions. So I really, you know, wanted to say that. I said that line for that reason. Like, yeah, it's like the connection of when I know something's supposed to happen, I'm speaking it into existence.
Now, you also already put out the song When We Move, right? And, you know, the whole world follows. So how do we make sure now? Because I feel like all these companies, everybody's trying to make sure that they're supporting Black people, they're supporting Black women. But how do we make sure that this is something that continues? And how do we make sure that we ourselves are going back into our own communities and doing positive things?
Yeah. You know, like it's something to see the companies, you know, like, you see a Black woman on every commercial. Like I watch basketball, and like I be seeing Black women, and I'm like happy. And then at the same token, I also look and say, okay, these companies are doing what they can to make themselves look good right now. But how do we keep that, or keep them into understanding and get them closer to truly who we are and our experience? So it's sincere, because some places it may be sincere, but overall, we know how companies move. A lot of them move like what's going to do well for their business. But I think we keep them sincere and keep them true by making sure we have people within those companies in the decision-making process. And not just one, not just like two. I'm talking about people that's diverse, Black and brown people at the table that have different perspectives, that offer things that these people haven't even experienced or haven't been close to. So then they can see and understand and actually do it from a true place. You know, I say another line on the album where I'm talking about, you know, I said, where people holler Black lives but don't know where Blacks live. And I say, it's okay, you know, you and your white picket can help paint the fence, meaning it's some white kids that holler like Black lives, but they don't really know the Black struggle, but it's still good as a start for you to say something. So it's a start for these companies to do something, but you know, it's a long journey that we got to actually get these companies in a place where they understand what equality is and not just showing it. But I do say, man, it's up to us to make sure we put our people in there and like these businesses that we running. By the way, Charlamagne, I see you making the moves, like, you know, with the TV thing, and I saw the people that you putting together, and it's like, man, you bringing the people in, like, and that's what we have to do. We got to bring our people in that are qualified, that are exceptional at the job, but are also people of color and women, so that then, you know, these businesses are operating with the diversity that they always claim. And so I think that's some of the strongest ways we can get it done. And within our communities, we got to remember, like, yo, oh man, my mother always used to be on me like, yo, you keeping your money in Seaway Bank. Seaway Bank was a Black bank in Chicago that I grew up around. And my mother was really, I used to be like, Mom, I'm about to do. She's like, no, you got to keep your money in Seaway Bank too. Like, those things are important, just to say, oh, let me support this Black business. I'm going to be conscious of supporting this Black business because they are qualified and they do a great job. So I think those are some of the efforts we got to make for that.
I agree with you on everything that you just said, Common, but I also say, too, I think where we're at right now as far as, like, Black women being at the forefront, I think that's divine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I really do. I think that, you know, our greatest leaders right now are Black women. When we speak about voices and the people that are speaking up, the most powerful voices are Black women. And I think that's all divine.
Brother, I 100% agree with you. And you know, when you think about like the Black woman, it's like, man, the Black woman has been the most powerful being on the planet, to be honest, because she's dealt with being a woman oppression and being a Black person oppressed. And that in itself, like, for all that strength and all that experience, she's able to bring like some of the most powerful ideas, to nurture those ideas, develop them, and bring just light to so many places on the planet and so many people. I have to agree with you, man. It's like, to me, it's one of those things where, you know, God has created the Black woman to be that light and to be like, to help save a lot of our communities and the world in different ways. And I think, you know, when a person or like when people go through things the way Black women have, when they express their love, it's from a deep and from a raw and also just like a higher vibration place, because when you've seen like the pains and struggles that Black women have went through, it's like, man, like, to be able to express that light is powerful. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. And I feel like as a man, it's like, I'm all right to understand, look, I'm a man leading situations in different ways, but also we need women to lead situations in certain ways too. And Black women are at the forefront. And I love it.
That's right.
How much has Hollywood changed with all of these different things that we're talking about from when you first started to where you are now?
Oh man, it's changed. Like, you know, and I'm not gonna say it like, oh man, everything is exactly where it should be. But literally when I was first started reading scripts and seeking out auditioning, it was room for one Black person in the movie. And they were clear with that. Like, that's what it was. Like, you know, that they got, my agent would say it to me at times clear like that, and at times indirectly, like, you know, well, they got this person, so yeah, you know, like basically saying they got their Black guy. And now I see so many like Black creators getting to create shows. So it's definitely not like, oh, I'm only have one Black person in this, you know, and I can name so many different, it wasn't even this amount of Black producers, directors, writers, or actors. Like, if you look at some of the dopest actors out there, it's a lot of dope Black actors. out there. I mean, when I say actors, I mean actors and actresses. Like,
right.
and I used to go into those meetings and be like, man, I want to be like the next Giselle, the next Will Smith. Now it's like so many cats you can name that you could say, from Viola Davis, you know, to Regina King or Regina Hall. You could say, you know, Daniel Kaluuya to, you know, Anthony Mackie. You can name all and it's a whole younger generation of dope actors. But the most important thing along with that, or one of the most important things along with that, is that we have Black creators and Black producers. So I've seen it change, and I'm seeing it evolve even more. And I think the accountability that we've been holding America to, Hollywood is taking heed to it.
What's the inspiration for Beautiful Revolution Part 2? Because I mean, you do so many different things. You got your activism, you got your acting, you got the music. Like, what still inspires you to say, you know what, let me do a Part 2 to this Beautiful Revolution?
Man, I just felt like it's nothing like music, man. Music is another one of God's most divine gifts. Like, and it touches me and it touches us in so many different ways that, like, it just can change your life and shift the paradigm. And like, I really realized that how much I love music, being in this, having to sit down for a second. I was, you know, playing the music that I love, like, and a lot of that was 90s hip hop and some of the 90s R&B, and gospel music and jazz. And I was like, man, music brings so much like light to my life and joy, and it inspires me. And man, and like I said, I use it to get my life together. So I was like, man, this is what I want. This is one of my purposes. This is what I want to give to the world also, is what music has given me. So I was like, man, I gotta do an album. And I was sitting around thinking too, like, I was inspired to write after listening to Black Moon and listening to Tribe and listening to KRS and listening to Special Ed and Big Daddy Kane. I'm like, man, this is the stuff that started me to rhyming. And lately I've been listening to the MF Doom and cats that I hadn't even checked out. And it's like, man, this music inspires people and changes, and it lasts forever. And it hits people in a different way. Even from the standpoint of this, like, lately I've done a film called Alice that starred Keke Palmer. That it's an independent film, and they asked me to score it. So I ended up scoring the movie with a couple other musicians, the musicians that produced a Beautiful Revolution. And man, it was like, man, movies need music. So I was like, man, I'm gonna do what I'm purposed to do. One of the ways for me to put out the best energy and my God energy is through music. So that's what made me do a Beautiful Revolution Part 2.
I want to talk to the MC in you right now, man, because one of the most incredible verses that I heard in a long time came out this week, and it made me think of brothers like you, because I'm like, man, there's only a few artists I think could, like, express that type of vulnerability in a verse. And that was Andre 3000's verse on that unreleased Ye song. What'd you think of that?
That verse is special, man. That verse is like one of the greatest verses I've heard in a minute. It's a place where I always love when an MC can go into their own life and go into like a vulnerable place, a raw place, and reflective place. And it relates to, like, you by Andre telling his story, man, I related to that. You know, my mother is alive, but I related to so many things. He made me think of my father because, you know, when he was talking about coughing when his mother smoked a cigarette. And my father used to always tell me when I was a little kid, and I was like an infant, he was like, I would always cough. I would cough before he lit the cigarette, just because I was like, didn't want him to smoke. And when Andre was telling that story, I was like, man, this is what hip hop does, man. This is what, when you get into a soulful place as an MC, you know, you relate to people in different ways. And I'm thinking about my father who transitioned, and man, and the way he was describing, you know, even going to Sunday school, you know, getting the get with the girl or whatever. It just was so
pure and perverted. That's what he said. Pure and perverted.
Woo, man, that dude is one of the greatest MCs. As simple as that. And it felt so great to hear a verse like that. And man, you're right. He's one of the few that will go there and can do it. Like everybody, some people tell their stories, but they don't do it as beautiful as he does. Is the right word, because he does it in a beautiful way, and nobody can do it the way he does it. So that's important, man. Like nobody can do it the way I do it. Nobody can do it the way Nas does it. To me, like meaning once you find that voice and sharpen your skill and take that God-given gift and develop it, man, nobody can do it that way. You just got to stay evolving, and that's what Dre doing. That's one of the coldest verses, man. I
feel like I'm starting to see the real y'all. I feel like all of us, the older we get, like we stripping away the mask and the characters, and you just revealing the real you. I hear that in Nas's music. I hear that in your music. I heard that in Dre's verse. I heard that when Jay did 444.
Man, I think 444 was one of Jay-Z's like greatest albums for me, and not only is that something to be able to reach that in like 20 years into your career, but also, man, just to be able to be like at the level that Jay is, and to be able to say, man, I'm going to be vulnerable and talk about these things. But that was one of the things that I always wanted to hear from a Jay-Z too, or I always want to hear from any artist, because, we hip hop cats, so we gonna come out and tell you all the great things about us and how dope we are. But I think that when we take off the superhero costume and just like you say, take the mask off and just show who we are in our hearts and our spirits, it's a different thing, and it's necessary because people need to see that too. Because we're not just only that superhero thing is part. It's like being that dope MC is part of who we are, but it's also some people are like, man, dealing with all type of issues and struggles and like old wounds and stuff like that. And you're right, to hear like a Nas go deeper into his life. And Ye always did that, and Dre did it too. And I feel like I've always been that guy to speak, whether it was about abortion that I was dealing with or trying to find God in the way that I wanted to. I always talked about, things that I experienced, and even from my book's perspective. So, and you feel better when you strip all that stuff away, man. I feel like the most comfortable I've ever been, the most confident I've ever been, and the strongest I've ever been. And it's funny, you feel the strongest by showing your weakness. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so.
I wanted Ye to go deeper, though. I'm not going to lie on Donda. What Andre 3000's verse was, I wanted that album to be like that.
Yeah. I got to be real. I haven't even just listened to the whole album yet, because I kind of was like, I got to sit down and really listen to this. I was talking to Ye about the album like a couple of months ago, and he was like, man, telling me about his school he's building and different things he was doing. And he really was like, man, saying, man, come on and create something. I was with it, but we never got up. But I'm bringing it up to say I really want to sit down and listen to the album. Ye does have the ability to go there. And I do have to say, like, from what everybody I know that's been listening to the project told me, like, that the song with Dre 3000 is one of the dopest. I know it's not on the album, but it's one of the dopest.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Man, what's up with PJ, man?
Man, she coming, man. I wish I had her here with me now. She would have loved to be, just to say what's up, because she is, man, she smacked this new album again. She writing on her project. Her project will be coming out soon. Man, I love her, man. She's one of the, I'm telling y'all, she can do anything. Like, I seen her just get on raw beats and just come with a dope ass hook for that. Then she'll come with something super dope for something that's like more soulful. She could go to she writing songs on my album. I got this song called Poetry. It's like a bluesy sounding song. And we had this artist named Marcus King sing it. He like a blues, more of a country artist. But she wrote the hook. But then she'll write a hook like a beautiful Chicago kid is like it feel like almost some reggae Jamaican stuff. I love her, man. She's so cold, man.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, A Beautiful Revolution is out this Friday. Common, we always enjoy talking to you, my brother.
Man, it's great to build with you. Great to build with y'all. Great to talk with y'all. I appreciate y'all having me.
I was going to say, I also enjoy seeing you interview people as well. I think that's a nice a flip of the script for you. You do a great job of that.
Oh, thank you for that. I must say, what y'all do is no joke. Like me being able to do like the interviews for my show that I did with Audible, it was like, this stuff it's a craft to this. It's a technique to, what y'all do is incredible. And last time Angela, we got on, you weren't here. I wanted, I was congratulating y'all. I mean, to do what y'all done and made it to the Hall of Fame and like, I got to salute you again and just say, man, all of what you all are doing is part of legacy. It's part of legacy for lifetimes. And, the same way we talk about artists, we'll be talking about the Breakfast Club. So I got to say, y'all do a wonderful job and thank you for what you're saying. But y'all job ain't easy, but y'all do an incredible job at it.
Thank you, King. And that beard looking healthy. Can you give Envy some tips on how to make your beard at least look natural?
Hey,
okay.
Is Envy eating healthy? Is he eating healthy?
He claims he is, but I don't know, man. He got an artist that's drawing on his beard. It don't look like yours.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he really staying true to the diet is one, man, and keeping that happiness and drinking a lot of water, man. Tell Envy to stay on it, man.
Word.
You're right. He said when he went vegan, it made his hairline grow back temporarily.
Yeah, he did that. He clearly had got the transplant, but that's what he told us.
Well, I ain't get that hair grow back from the vegan, so I don't know how Envy got it, but I ain't get that.
Word. Common. Peace, my brother.
Beautiful Revolution Part 2. Yes.
Peace. Love, y'all.